So we have been discussing about the incarnations. Now talking about more in detail on this verse 1.3.28, because this is kind of a declarative statement in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srila Jiva Goswami explains this verse very wonderfully. In fact, he calls this verse as one of the essential verse, or you can say the key verse, because based on this a very important subject is going to be highlighted or established. What is most important is to establish Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now this is a very important phenomenon, important fact to be established. Now Srila Jiva Goswami in his Sandarbhas, now he wrote 6 Sandarbhas. Now in the 6 Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami first establishes the authenticity of Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless Puran, as the king of all scriptures. And after establishing Srimad Bhagavatam as the king of all scriptures, you can say a spotless Puran, then he uses Srimad Bhagavatam only to further establish the supremacy of Bhagavan feature. So out of the 3 features of the absolute truth, Bhagavan, Paramatma and Brahma, he establishes the supremacy of Bhagavan. And then Srila Jiva Goswami, this is all by Srila Jiva Goswami, then the question will come, which form of Bhagavan? Bhagavan refers to the form of the Supreme Lord. Which form is supreme? So that has to be established. So which form is supreme? Shri Krishna. So Krishna's form is supreme amidst all incarnations. And to establish this fact, he uses this verse 1.3.28. And therefore he calls essential or the key verse because it establishes this important fact. And this verse becomes the basis of a whole Sandarbha of Srila Jiva Goswami called as Krishna Sandarbha. Now using this as the basis, he further elaborates and goes into details establishing Sri Krishna's position as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now we will discuss this verse, how this verse refutes all conceptions of any other incarnation to be supreme. So let us study this verse. Now you can open your books. Text 28 says, Ete Chamsha Kalaha Pumsa. This is the first line. Now this line comes in 28th verse. And if you remember, from 6th to 25 rather, a list of incarnations are given. A long list of incarnations. And before 6 to 25, there was the first section, that is 1 to 5, which comes before 6 to 25. In this, Purusha avatars who are involved in the creation are explained. Since Purusha avatars are explained, now if you look in the first verse of this chapter, so let us look at this first verse, because this verse has a connection to 28th verse. So first verse says, Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam. So the word used is Paurusham, which refers to Purusha avatars. If we say Paurusham, the word to word meaning Srila Prabhupada explains this as Purusha incarnation. As Purusha incarnation. So when Purusha incarnation is explained from 1st to 5, and after that immediately a list of incarnation starts. And once the list of incarnation ends and we reach 28th verse, the verse starts with Ete. Ete refers to all these incarnations which are mentioned in so many verses. So this list of incarnations, ete chamsha, which includes various amsha and various kalaha, which means various plenary expansions and various opulences. Expansions and expansions of expansions. Ete cha. Cha means, ete means whatever is already presented. I can write here already given or already presented. Cha means and all others which are not presented in the list, because as it is said that Lord has n number of incarnations, just like rivers coming from a vast source of water. Now these incarnations can come in the category of amsha and kala. They can be plenary portions or portions of the portions. So all these already given and all others which can be amsha or kala are all coming from pumsa. Pumsa refers to Purusha incarnation. Purusha incarnation. Or which are three kinds: Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, Shiro Dakshai Vishnu, and Mahavishnu. We already discussed this in the first 5 verses. Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, Shiro Dakshai Vishnu, Mahavishnu, who is also called as Karanar Dakshai Vishnu. Now from Purusha avatar all these come. And how Jiva Goswami explains, Jiva Goswami says that when any text has to be analyzed, any section has to be analyzed, you have to see the beginning of the section and the end of the section. Now we can say here, from the first verse, it was mentioned Purusham. Now we will tell Purusha. And after telling Purusha, then it gives a list of incarnations. And then he says, all these list again talks about Purusha, comes from Purusha. So first Purusha and Purusha. The first verse begins with Purusha, 28th and 28th also talks about Purusha. So this means all these are coming from Purusha, which was discussed way back in the first verse. This way Srila Jiva Goswami links that all these are coming from Purusha. And then the next line which says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. It says Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He says, although all these are coming from Purusha, this is the first point he explains. And then the next point, the B point, which is explained, after Purusha, the word used is Krishna. Tu means but. But Krishna is Bhagavan, because we are supposed to establish who is Bhagavan, the original form of Bhagavan. Swayam means originals, the self. Srila Prabhupada explains in the word-to-word meaning, in person. Swayam means in person, who is the original personality of Godhead. Bhagavan refers to personality of Godhead. So when you make a certain statement and then you say but, so but Krishna is personality of Godhead, original, supreme. So if anybody asks that is Krishna supreme or Rama supreme or Vaman or Matsya or Varha, this statement is making it very clear. All these lists are there. All this already given and all others, they are all coming from Purusha. Purusha comes from Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme Bhagavan. The Purusha comes from Krishna originally, and then it says Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Now this kind of statement very clearly declares the position of Krishna. But then the doubt which may come, this is 28th verse, and we suppose in the verse number 22, or rather 23. In the verse number 23, it is mentioned, Rama Krishna iti bhuvo Bhagwan aharadbharam. So in the Rama Krishna, or Balaram and Krishna and Balaram are mentioned as 19th and 20th incarnations. 19th and 20th incarnations. Krishna and Balaram are mentioned in the text number 23. Now when in text number 23, Krishna and Balaram are mentioned 1920 incarnation, but now in this verse it is mentioned Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, all others are incarnation. So although 6 to 25 was mentioned as incarnations coming from Purusha avatars 1 to 5, and 23 is a part of this list, so apparently Krishna and Balaram who are in this list are supposed to be coming from Purusha. But then 28th verse which comes later says Krishna is the original. So how do we understand this? Let us try to understand that. Hare Krishna.